Stride Audio Show.
Presented by Speak English with Us.
Someone walks up to you at the gym and asks, "What's your training split this week?" And your brain just stops.
You heard training, you heard week, but that one word split, and suddenly you're just standing there, smiling like everything's fine.
And then you say something like, "I just exercise." And the conversation dies right there. I've been that person. It's painful.
This is a B1 level episode, perfect for intermediate learners. And if you're a beginner, you're absolutely welcome here too. Just come along for the ride.
Today we're talking about gym English, fitness English, the kind of language that actually lives inside running groups, yoga studios, in weight rooms, and nobody ever taught you in a classroom.
And here's the thing. It's not that you don't know enough English. It's that your vocabulary was built for textbooks, not treadmills.
There's actually a concept behind this, something called lexical priming. The idea is that fluent speakers don't think word by word. They fire off whole chunks of language at once. And today, we're going to build those chunks for you.
By the end of this episode, you won't just say, "I work out." You'll say things like, "I've been working on my endurance," or "My legs are still sore from yesterday." Real phrases, real confidence.
And stay until the end for our Word Tour 5 expressions that fitness insiders actually use, broken down so you can start using them today.
But first, quick question. And we want a fast answer, no thinking aloud. When you finish a hard workout, are you the type who immediately goes home and collapses? Or do you stay and cool down properly? Drop your answer A or B right now.
I already know what most people are going to say, and honestly, same.
We're going to get into why that choice actually matters. And there's one thing we discovered about how fitness language works that completely changed how we think about this. But first,
Let's talk about the moment it all goes wrong. The gym, the running group, the yoga class, and why your English freezes exactly when you need it most.
let me paint a picture. You join an English-speaking running group. First session. Everyone's stretching, chatting, and you're standing there thinking, "Okay, I can do this."
And then someone turns to you and goes, "So, what are you working on right now? Speed or distance?"
And you freeze. Literally freeze. Not because you don't have an answer, you do. You run 5 kilometers every morning. You've been doing it for months. But the words just won't come out in English.
That's the moment, that full body freeze where your mouth opens and nothing useful comes out. And the worst part, you can feel your face going red. You're sweating and not from the run.
So you say, "I run every day," and the person nods politely and turns back to their friend. Conversation over. You pull out your phone and pretend to check something important.
That's not a language failure. That's a vocabulary gap. A very specific, very fixable gap. And it happens because the English you learned was never anchored to this the world of training plans, recovery days, and pushing past your limits.
Here's what's actually going on. When a native speaker talks about fitness, they're not building sentences from scratch. They're pulling out chunks, ready-made phrases that fire automatically. Things like, "I've been working on my form," or "I'm still sore from leg day."
And that phrase, "work on," is one of the most powerful ones. It's not just, "I exercise." It tells people what you're focused on. I'm working on my endurance. I'm working on my posture. Suddenly, you sound like someone who actually has a plan.
Which, by the way, you do. You just didn't have the English for it yet.
Okay, Leo, let's do a role play. You're the guy at the gym. I just finished a session and you come over to chat.
Got it. Here we go. Hey, good session today. You look very tired. Do you have muscle pain?
Okay, stop right there. Do you have muscle pain? That's textbook English. It's not wrong, but no one at a gym actually says that.
I knew it. I could feel it sounding weird as I said it.
So here are two ways a real fitness person would say it. Option 1, you look sore tough session. Short, casual, natural. Option 2, still sore from yesterday or did you push through? See how sore and push through just slide right in.
Let me try again. Hey, you look sore. Tough session today.
Yes, that's it. That's the version that keeps a conversation alive.
It's wild how two words completely change the energy of a sentence.
And that's exactly the point. You don't need to overhaul your entire English. You need to swap out the flat textbook words for the ones that actually live in these spaces.
There's another moment that gets people. You've been going to the gym for weeks. You're doing everything right. But suddenly, nothing's changing. The scale doesn't move. Your times aren't improving. You feel stuck.
And in English, there's a perfect phrase for that feeling. It's called hitting a plateau, when your progress just levels off, no matter how hard you push.
And the thing about a plateau is it doesn't mean you're failing. It means your body adapted, which is actually a sign you've been consistent.
But try explaining that in a running group when all you've got is, I'm not getting better. It doesn't land the same way. I think I've hit a plateau with my pace. That sentence gets nods. People get it immediately.
I said I'm not improving to my gym buddy once, and he looked at me like I needed a therapist, not a training plan.
Versus, I've hit a plateau and suddenly everyone has advice for you.
So the gap isn't about grammar, it's about having the right chunks loaded and ready. Work on, soar, push through, hit a plateau. These aren't fancy words, they're just the real ones.
And by the way, there's a reason these chunks feel so natural when you hear them. There's actually a name for how this works in language learning. It's called lexical priming. We'll break it down properly in our word tour later.
But first let's talk about what you can actually do about it, because knowing the problem is step 1. Step 2 is a lot more fun.
Okay, so here's the approach I've actually tried, and it works. It's called the replacement method. You take a sentence you already know how to say, and you swap out the weak word for a real chunk.
Like upgrading your gear. Same workout, better equipment.
Exactly. So instead of I exercise every day, you say I've been doing strength training lately. Instead of I'm tired, you say my legs are still sore from yesterday's session. You're not building from zero, you're just replacing the flat part.
But wait, I want to push back on this a little, because that sounds simple in theory. But in a real conversation, you don't have time to think, okay, what's my replacement phrase? You just react. So how does this actually help in the moment?
That's a fair challenge. And here's the answer. The replacement practice isn't for the conversation. It's for before the conversation. You drill the swap enough times that the upgraded phrase becomes your automatic response. Your brain stops reaching for I'm tired because I'm sore has taken its place.
So it's like muscle memory, but for sentences.
Exactly. And that's where the second method comes in scene, anchoring. Before you go to the gym or head out for a run, you spend 30 seconds mentally rehearsing one sentence you might actually use that day.
Okay, but here's my issue with that. 30 seconds of mental rehearsal, isn't that just hoping you remember it? What if the conversation goes in a completely different direction? You've rehearsed, I'm working on my endurance this month, and someone asks you about your cool-down routine instead.
That's a really good point. And honestly, it happens. But here's the thing, the goal of scene anchoring isn't to script the whole conversation. It's to get at least one real chunk activated and ready. Even if you only use it once, that one moment of natural expression changes how the other person sees you. And more importantly, it changes how you see yourself in that conversation.
Okay, I'll give you that. One good phrase can shift the whole dynamic.
Right? And once you've said one real thing, the next one comes easier. It's like you've broken the ice. The freeze is gone.
But I still think there's a bigger problem here. What about people who've been studying English for years and they still hit a plateau with their speaking? They know the vocabulary, they've done the drills, but in a real social setting, gym, running group, yoga class, they still go blank. Isn't the replacement method just more of the same? More studying, more drilling, same result?
That's actually the sharpest question you could ask. And I think the answer is it depends on how you're drilling. If you're practicing phrases in isolation, on a flashcard, disconnected from any real scene, yes, you'll hit that same wall. The chunk doesn't activate because it was never attached to a real moment.
So the scene part is what makes it different.
The scene is everything. When you rehearse, I'm working on my endurance, while you're literally lacing up your shoes before a run that phrase gets wired to that physical moment. Next time you're in that situation, the phrase comes with it. That's what lexical priming actually means in practice. Words get primed by context, not by repetition alone.
Okay, but let me push through one more objection, because I think a lot of listeners are thinking this right now. What if your English level genuinely isn't high enough yet? Like, what if the problem isn't the chunks, it's that you don't have enough grammar or vocabulary to hold a full conversation even if you know 5 fitness phrases?
Honest answer, 5 well-chosen chunks will carry you further than 500 isolated vocabulary words. Because conversation isn't an exam. Nobody's grading your grammar at the gym. They're just trying to connect. And if you can say, I've been working on my form lately, still sore from Monday, that's a full real exchange. That's a connection made.
I mean, I've had entire gym friendships built on about 12 phrases total. And one of them was just, leg day is brutal.
Which, by the way, is a perfect example of the chunk that does all the work. 3 words. Instant bond with every person who's ever tried to walk downstairs after squats.
Your legs just stop cooperating. You're holding the railing like it's a lifeline.
And that shared experience, that's what language is actually for. Not to demonstrate your level, to connect over something real.
So the method is replace the flat words, anchor the new chunks to real scenes, and trust that even a small upgrade makes a real difference in how the conversation feels.
And don't wait until your English is good enough. Use the chunks now. Cool down after your run and say it out loud. I need to cool down. Walk into the gym and think, I'm working on my upper body today. Start small, start real.
The gap closes from the inside out, not from studying more, from speaking more, in the right moments with the right chunks loaded.
And if you've ever felt like you've hit a plateau with your English, not just your fitness, this is exactly how you push through it. Okay, it's time for our word tour.
5 expressions we've been using this whole episode, and now we're going to break them down properly.
These are the exact chunks that turn I just exercise into something that actually sounds like you belong in that gym conversation.
Real words, real scenes, let's go.
Let's go back to that running group moment from earlier. Someone asks what you're focused on, and instead of going blank, you say, I'm working on my endurance this month. That phrase. That's where we start.
Work on. It's such a small swap from I'm doing or I'm practicing, but it completely changes the impression. Work on tells people you have a specific goal. You're not just showing up. You're targeting something.
I'm working on my form. I'm working on my pace. I'm working on not dying during hill sprints. All of them work.
That last one is very relatable and very real.
The key thing about work on is that it implies ongoing effort. It's not finished. You're in the middle of it. which is honest because fitness is always in the middle of something.
Now remember the role play? When I said, "Do you have muscle pain?" and you stopped me immediately?
I had to. It was so textbook.
It really was. So the word that replaces it, sore. You look sore. I'm still sore from Monday. My shoulders are sore, but I'm okay.
Sore is the word that lives in every gym, every running group, every yoga class. It means your muscles ache after exercise that specific earned kind of tired. And it's casual. It fits into conversation without any effort.
You can even use it as a quick check-in. Still sore? 2 words. Instant connection with anyone who trained recently.
And it leads naturally into the next one because when you're sore, when everything hurts, and you really don't want to finish the last set, that's when you push through.
Push through means you keep going, despite the difficulty. You don't stop. You don't quit. You push through the resistance, physical or mental. I wanted to stop at kilometer 4, but I pushed through. The last 10 minutes were brutal, but she pushed through.
And it's not just fitness. You'll hear push through in work conversations, in tough situations, in life generally, but in a gym context, it hits differently. Everyone knows exactly what that feeling is.
That moment where your body is sending very clear messages and you're choosing to ignore all of them.
Exactly. Now what about when you've been pushing through for weeks and nothing's changing? You're consistent. You're showing up, but the progress has just stopped.
That's hit a plateau. And this one is so useful because it names something people feel but often can't describe. I think I've hit a plateau with my running pace. I've hit a plateau and I need to change my routine. It's not failure, it's a recognized stage. And using this phrase shows you understand how training actually works.
It also invites advice. The moment you say, "I've hit a plateau," people want to help. It opens a conversation instead of closing one.
Which is the whole point of having the right words.
And our last one, cool down. We asked about this in Act 1, remember? Are you the type who leaves immediately? Or do you stay and cool down?
I am absolutely the type who leaves immediately. I'm working on that.
Cool down is the period after exercise where you slow your body back to its resting state, light stretching, easy walking, letting your heart rate drop. I always do a 10-minute cool down. Don't skip the cool down. Your legs will thank you tomorrow.
And it's also a phrase you'll hear outside the gym. Let things cool down. Give it time to cool down. But in fitness, it's very specific and very commonly skipped.
So there they are. Work on. Soar. Push through. Hit a plateau. Cool down. 5 chunks that belong in your vocabulary. The next time you walk into a gym, join a running group, or find yourself standing next to someone who actually wants to talk about training.
Not textbook words, real ones. The kind that make people nod and say, "Yeah, this person knows what they're talking about."
So here's what we covered today. The reason your gym English stalls isn't grammar, it's not your level. It's that your vocabulary was built for classrooms, not conversations happening next to a squat rack.
And the fix isn't to study harder, it's to swap smarter. Replace the flat, textbook words with the chunks that actually live in these spaces.
3 things you can do starting today. First, pick one phrase from our word tour and use it out loud before your next workout, even if you're alone. Say, "I'm working on my endurance today," while you're tying your shoes. Wire the chunk to the moment.
Second, next time someone at the gym or in a running group asks how you're doing, don't default to, "I'm fine." Try "still sore from yesterday, but I pushed through." 2 chunks, 1 sentence. Completely different impression.
Third, if you feel like you've hit a plateau with your English speaking, remember what we said today. It's not a dead end. It's a signal to change your input. New scenes, new chunks, new context.
I spent 2 years saying I exercise at the gym. 2 years. And the day I switched to I've been working on my upper body strength, someone actually asked me for advice. Same person, same gym, completely different conversation.
That's the power of the right words at the right moment. It's not about sounding impressive, it's about sounding like yourself in English.
Which, it turns out, is a lot easier when you've got the right chunks loaded.
Before you go, we want to hear from you. Tell us in the comments, what's one fitness situation where your English has let you down? The gym, a running group, a yoga class, wherever it happened.
We read every single comment, and your answer might just become the topic of our next episode. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Keep working on it. Bye for now.